Today we've got the battle between Freewing and Eflite. It's the comparison you've probably been waiting for, so we're going to go ahead and knock it out today. The Eflite Viper 90mm versus the Freewing Avanti 80mm. Just to give you a brief overview, both of them have trailing link suspension, gear doors on the nose, and no gear doors on the mains. You've got lights on both, 2 additional lights you'll see coming in with the leading edge landing lights on the Viper. It's a 90mm with Eflite Viper, and it's an 80mm with the Freewing Avanti. 6S 5000 Spectrum Smart Pack 100C in the Viper, and a CNHL 6S 5000 65C Black Edition in the Avanti. So let's get these up in the air, do some flying, and when we get them back on the ground, we'll break them down a little bit further and do a side-by-side comparison. Taking off. So we're going to progressively push the throttle up, keep it on the center line, pull back on the stick, lift it out just a little bit, and then I'll walk you all through the flight as we rip through the sky. Taking off. A little bit of power, a little bit more. Back on the stick just a little bit and climb out. Let her gear up. We'll get on the downwind right here. We're going to do a Cuban 8. Plane has a lot of thrust. I mean, it climbs through these maneuvers with no problem. I'm only at about 65 to 70% throttle. Then I dial the power back a little bit as I'm coming out of the dive. We'll come around here base, pull the power back a little, about 30%, keep the nose down and keep it banked a little bit. About 30% throttle, we're gonna make a slow pass here. And that bird looks really nice with those nav lights and the wingtip lights. It just looks great. We're gonna do a split S right here and bring it back. Now we're gonna do an Immelman. Roll it over. And we'll make another pass by the runway here. I'm gonna give a little bit more power so y'all can hear that 12 blade 1950 kV motor in it. We're gonna go inverted on this pass. With a little bit of stick pressure. And bring it back. And with the sky the way it is, those 3 lights really help on the orientation of the plane. I'm gonna go down and make a left-hand turn, and I'll bring it back over the runway. We're gonna add a little power because we're getting a steep bank. Now I'm gonna pitch it out over the. I'm gonna pitch out over the field. We're gonna do the same thing coming this way. I'm gonna add power as I pitch out so y'all can hear that motor spool up. Another pass. Get an aileron rolling here. Just show y'all the roll rate. Kind of forced that one so it wasn't as clean as I'd like it to have been.
Time remaining 1 minute.
So now we're going to bring it back around. Do a gear check, make sure we got 3 in the green. Get it on the downwind, put the flaps in, and see if we can't put a good landing on a runway. So we'll come around base the final here. Once I get straight, click the flaps. I'm sorry, the gear. Got 3 in the green. Landing. And we're gonna put in the first set of flaps. Put in the second set of flaps. Run, lower the power down to about 20% because the nose is coming down, so it'll slow down our speed. Get a nice stabilized approach. We're gonna add just a touch of power back. Set it down. Kick the reverse thrust. Taxi it on back. And that reverse thrust is really nice, especially if you have a shorter runway. We got a 330-foot runway here. Most of the time I can get these jets stopped and turned around without having to do a sharp turn. However, it is nice having that reverse thrust because you can see as you get down there to the end, you can flip the switch, put the power in, slow it down, and then turn around. Taking off. Pressure, this thing jumps up. When it vertical on takeoff and to get up to speed on the runway. We'll bring it this way. I'm gonna go ahead and do a heat check and go across the field. We've got awesome vertical. I'm not even going full throttle to climb it up. Do an inland move right back to it. So what I really like about this plane is when you come out of the maneuvers, like I'm gonna pull the power back, it just gently comes out of the maneuver. It doesn't fly, so it almost feels like a, you know, it's got a certain speed it likes to fly at. But you can see on that first pass we opened it wide open. So now I'm gonna bring it by. We've got quite a bit of wind today, but I'm gonna go low throttle right here, and this doesn't have a gyro in it right now. Plane's really stable. A little bit overcast today, so those lights are definitely helping seeing it. Right here we're gonna show the vertical. We're gonna go into a loop just out of a level flight. We're gonna go power off right here and put the nose down through the turn. You notice it glides really well. It's still power off. Still power off. Add the power back. Roll it over right here. Go to a half Cuban and bring it back. So when it comes out of a dive, it just holds a certain speed, which if you're trying to fly certain maneuvers, you keep the same speed on the up line and the down line. It's really nice. And right here, I'm gonna bring it around to the runway and I'll let y'all hear it spool up. So we're gonna go out over the runway and then punch it. And I'm gonna bring it back. Go back out across the field. We're going to do a roll going that way. We got our 1 minute timer going. Bring it back around. Put the gear down. We're going to do a gear check. Yeah. Landing, getting on the downwind, put our flaps in, tighten a little bit so we can see the orientation of the plane, put the nose down a little bit, pull the power down some, bring it in about 20% throttle, let her slow down. We're going to add a little power, see the wind's pushing around a little bit, and we're going to hold it off. Right on the center line. Flaps up, let it roll out a little bit. steady right crosswind today, but even without a gyro, you can see not much movement on the approach. Now that we're back on the ground with both jets, let's do a side-by-side comparison. First is the flight characteristics between the two. The Avanti is going to be a little bit more floaty plane, so when you come in, it's going to want to kind of, just gradually sink down. If you got a headwind, it's definitely going to float, and the descent rate's going to be very slow. The Viper jet likes to come in with a little bit more speed, is a little bit heavier bird. However, both of them you've seen on the landings, you can fly both of them with a nice gradual approach and a smooth touchdown. Power-wise, Viper's got the advantage. It's got the 12 blade and it's got a little higher kV motor, plus it's got the 90 millimeter versus the 80. Stability wise, it's a little bit harder comparison because you got a factory tuned gyro in the Viper. The Freewing Avanti is going to be whatever you decide to put in. Today we were just running the Sport AR620. So stability wise, comparison between the two, when you both have them on a gyro, is very close. They both handle turbulent great. They both come in on final, and handle the small corrections, as you're getting slow. I mean, they both have great flying. As far as power and speed, the speed's pretty close on both of them. I'll put the screenshots in the bottom left-hand corner for the Viper, and I'll put the screenshot for the Avanti in the bottom right-hand corner. Thrust and, vertical, that's going to go to the Viper, which is probably to be expected with the motor that it has set up in it. However, something I do want to point out is the flight times between the two. We had both of them on a 4-minute timer. At about a minute, we did a gear check and brought them in and did about the same flying. So let's take a look at the batteries and do a comparison with both of them on 4 minutes. First, we'll take a look at the Viper. And something cool about the Viper is you do have telemetry with these smart batteries, so you can actually check it on the radio. So you don't have to go in and physically do the checker if you're running the telemetry setup. So 4-minute flight time on both running 5,000 series packs. Let's take a look at what we got. 34%, 380 perfectly across the board. So with this plane, we had room for a couple more go-arounds if we needed. Now let's take a look at the Avanti and see what we got on this one with basically the same flight time. 34% on this one, 381, 382 across the board. So a little bit more flight time, maybe 15 seconds or so, or a couple additional go-arounds. But you're doing a comparison side by side, both of them on the same timer, basically same size battery. That shows how efficient the Viper is. It's got a bigger motor, slightly higher kV, and 12 blade, and we're basically getting the same flight time. And as I mentioned, it's got better thrust and, a little bit more vertical, and, it's got a little bit more in the performance as far as power department. Both of them great planes. The Avanti comes as a plug and play. You can put your receiver in it. Depending on the receiver is going to be, depending on the total cost that you have on it. And value wise, the Avanti is an older plane, but it's still a great value for getting into a sport jet with a good size wing and all the features. The Viper jet is one of the latest ones out, probably one of the best flying EDFs I've flown, if not the best. So it's a really close battle. Being all the extra performance features and the, additional things that I was talking about positive about the Viper, a lot of it has to do with newer technology, newer plane, newer equipment. It does come with a bigger price tag. However, it is a more simple bird to get in the air because you bind it up to your radio, put your battery in there, and you're ready to go. So both planes great. Hopefully this video gives you some information on maybe making a choice on one or the other if you're looking for some of the best sport jets out there right now. If you appreciate the video today, go ahead and push like on the video. If you want to see future videos, subscribe to the channel while you're here. I appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next one.